Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess that I'm addicted to new ideas and new projects. So yesterday in the evening I counted that I'm currently active in 7 different corporations and organizations, so as a board member or council member. So good afternoon. My name is Saar, and I'm board member of Estonian ICT Association and as well head of product and IT service development in Estonian largest telecom company. So together with my colleagues, I will guide you through different Estonian e-business services which are helping Estonian entrepreneurs like myself or my colleagues in Estonia every day. So before we are heading to the Estonian e-business services, I would like to say a few words about Estonian business environment, just to have better understanding where we are standing. And Estonia is currently ranked among the top 20 out of all countries in the ease of doing business index by World Bank Group. So it means that Estonia is quite well advanced in terms of legislation and processes regarding how to run business in Estonia. So definitely clear and simple legislation and tax laws helped us a lot to implement those laws quickly as e-business services. So to use e-services, you must have skilled personnel and technical infrastructure in your company. So 96.2% of Estonian companies have computers and 95.5% have internet access in their offices. So and already today more than 80% of Estonian entrepreneurs are communicating with public sector using e-channels. So if you will ask me to give you the simplest example of the useful Estonian e-business solution for enterprise, I would definitely take digital signature. So signing a different document or contract is a part of everyday life of company managers. So it's quite easy to have 1 or 2 parties to sign a contract. But last year I had possibility to prepare a contract where 27 companies were involved. So imagine this task, tens of pages long contract and 27 companies. So how many days it will take to sign this contract on paper? So we used a special portal to give signatures to this contract digitally. So those managers who were out of Estonia gave their signatures as well digitally. So signing process took a few days, and after signing everyone got their copies of agreement in electronic format. So, but if you don't have ID card with you, or if you don't have a computer with ID card reader, and when you are abroad, so what to do? So Mr. Astok will explain you. So if you don't have ID card, is there any possibility to sign a contract? Floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Astok, and my background is that I have been working for the government for long years, and also afterwards being involved in politics as a member of a parliament. And I know very well what you need to do if you do not have an ID card, if you need to sign the contract. You just need to meet the person and sign the contract with your ordinary pen. But it might be very problematic if you're abroad, really. I tell you a story. I was last year in Macedonia, and my son was calling me that our car is in repair, and now we make it ready, but we're asking for the cash for the payment. And I said, but we must have a contract where, so they will send us invoice. But he said that there is a problem, they don't find the contract, so what we can do. I was calling to the service, car repair service, and telling them, can we sign the contract now? They said, yes, we have contract draft ready, so we will send you after 5 minutes. I said, yes, I will sign it afterwards. After 5 minutes, send me a signed contract. I will send you back, and then you can issue me invoice. So I don't need to pay the cash like 400 euros for car repair in cash. So I get this contract after 5 minutes to my mailbox. I was signing it digitally and sending back, and problem was solved. In ordinary conditions, without digital signature and digital ID, I was just in trouble, and almost no solution available. So we really need it not only for the high-level governmental nice solutions to sign the contracts in governmental ministerial level, but also just for ordinary citizens in everyday life. So what are the problems? What I'm explaining you is that there is a really global need for mobility. Everybody is traveling, especially business people, government officials, everybody is traveling. Also, we are traveling ourselves much more because we are going for the holidays, for the long holidays, for the short holidays. But on the same time, there is a still need to sign kind of contracts to keep the life at home still going. So the solution is not that much already the ID card, what has been promoted already in this event pretty more, but is the mobile ID, what you can use together with your mobile phone SIM card and use it for the signing purposes through any internet-connected computer. But I come back to it later, how it works. Another problem is that definitely there is a need for strong identification tools and digital signature. And we really trust only the tools what are real ones. So that's why online digital signature was created. Not only in Estonia, but in many other countries. And also, we need probably the government-trusted signature and authorization, because when we can make a deals with the government also, not only between the businesses, as we can often do if you're having private digital signature from a private provider. So that's why it's a good solution that Estonian digital signature, both through electronic ID card and from a mobile phone, is trusted by Estonian government. And going as a next step, we need often, not that much often now, but soon, we need to have transactions, electronic transactions and electronic signatures, also with other governments. Because at least in Europe, what is one big economical zone, people are commuting very often. They are living in one country, working in another country, just across the border. So we need to have deals and contracts with many governments. And the solution is that if it's one government provides trusted authorization and digital signature, it's trusted also by other governments and other institutions in relevant country. We launched mobile ID, what is your identity and digital signature transferred to your mobile phone SIM card, and you can use it in every mobile phone. We launched this solution in year 2009, and you can see not only to the Estonian and European Union flags, but probably you can see here also that already in year 2009, over 1 million mobile ID authentications was made in Estonia. And already around 500,000 digital signatures were provided with assistance of mobile ID. I think it's a very remarkable number because take-up of this kind of activity has been very rapid. But on the background, definitely there are Estonian ID card, what is very known for most of the citizens in Estonia. And you can see already that the numbers after 1 year are almost doubled. So I think it's a great result. And as you can see, the projection definitely the numbers will go rapidly. And I can tell you from my own experience that mobile ID is much more convenient than usual ordinary ID card. So now you can ask how it works. What you need to have is just any internet-connected computer with browser. Is it Firefox or Explorer or Chrome or Safari? Doesn't matter. Because you go for the service portal, what is assisted or supported by the mobile ID. You just click to the button mobile ID when you provide your mobile ID number, mobile phone number, what is connected to your mobile ID, or your personal ID number, and when you get the confirmation number like this 3641 in your computer screen, and suddenly the same number, when the application is open, appears to a mobile phone screen. What is very important, you can use this service with any mobile phone, not only with iPhones or fancy Android smartphones, $10 Nokia working in the same way with the same application. So you need to enter, when you need to verify that the number in your mobile phone screen and the computer screen is the same, so you are in the same connection, and you need to enter your PIN code, and miraculously, in any internet-connected computer, the service is opening and you are identified. And to provide the digital signature to a document if needed, or for a transaction, like in bank transaction, it's just the same procedure. You start the procedure from a computer, you are getting 5-digit PIN number on your mobile phone screen and to a computer screen, verifying that the numbers are same, then providing 5-digit PIN code, what is a digital signature, and it's done. So my clear view is that the future is in mobile solutions. We do not need to carry with us any more computer. Maybe we carry tablet if it's bigger, but almost you can do everything via your mobile phone. And the identification is already connected to your mobile phone. So what is the future? What are the services? It's definitely a complicated question, because if you like to add also your electronic wallet to your mobile phone, it definitely asks the question that is it safe enough, and when I lose it, do I lose everything? But it's the next question. But the mobile identity is here and it stayed here. And already in last elections in this spring, we're using the mobile identification also for the voting to be identified and signed in the internet voting process. Thank you.
So, thank you, Hannes. So, I propose to take questions in the end of session, because otherwise we will run out of time quite quickly. So, most of governmental and municipal services are currently, for enterprises, are currently available online. So, for example, if there is a decision to change board member or council member of the company, you just have to make it electronically in commercial register. But okay, we have ID card, we have mobile ID, we can sign contracts wherever you are. So, but if you don't have a company in Estonia, can you start one using electronical channels? So Ingmar, Väli will show you how it's possible within 18 minutes.
Hi. Hello. I will put my slides on. So my name is Ingmar, and I have a small story to tell you. Last year, we managed to register the world record in establishing a new legal entity in Estonia. And this world record took us about 18 minutes. 18 minutes and some seconds. So how was this possible? And you could even do this from your home without leaving your home. So in order to make this world record happen, we need a good environment for this process. And at that time, when we started this e-government system development, we saw that companies have a lot of trouble in starting new companies, and it takes a lot of time. And we started new analysis. We made some research, and we wanted to go on a field trip to the registration department to see how it's all happening in the back office side. And suddenly it started raining a lot, like raining cats and dogs. So we just thought about it for a second, and then we decided that why do we have to go anywhere? So there's no need to go anywhere. We should have e-government. Of course, we knew at that time that we don't have this service at the moment, but we should have it. So we sit down with my colleagues, and we started putting down on the paper some keynotes what this environment for the companies, for the entrepreneurs, for the citizens should look like, feel like. So it should have easy step-by-step process to start a new company. So it shouldn't be any complex, difficult process. It should be very easy. So it shouldn't have any additional performance in the process, because there is no need to have anybody who could help you, because the process should be so easy, so you could do it on your own. And it should be paper-free. We hate paper in the e-government side. We don't like any paper. So we put down also some of the functionalities for this system, like the system should have a possibility to start a new company. It should have the possibility to update the existing company information, and once a year the system should be possible to file annual accounts, annual reports. So we also decided that this environment should be internet. But as you all know, the internet is a very hostile environment. It almost has none security, and it's full of hackers. So we needed to build some kind of security around this portal in order to let the citizens and entrepreneurs to start this new legal entity. Without this, lawyers said it's impossible to do it in the internet. But as the last presenter also told, that we have very good internet penetration, and we have almost all the citizens using electronic identities, even mobile IDs. So we used this electronic identity, like in a real world there is a normal identity as your passport in your hand. In electronic world we have electronic identity, and this enables us to start the new company. And this enables us also to do it without endangering the legal certainty. So when we started in 2007 with this company registration portal, at the same year we received about 30% of the new applications via this new portal. It worked quite well, concerning the fact that we didn't do any marketing to this system. We didn't have the marketing budget. But year by year we started receiving more applications through this online system. And in 2008 we received as much electronic documents as we did paper documents. But this was not enough, because in order to have full 100% electronic system, we needed also to modernize the notary office. And why is that? Well, I will explain you why. Because the notary from this company registration process is not going anywhere. Because before we started this electronic system, the registration process took about 5 days with the help of notary. Today, the company registration takes averagely 2 hours. As you heard, world record in 18 minutes. So if we look at this slide, notary is also doing something in this process, and we cannot eliminate the notary totally, because there are complex cases when entrepreneur would like to have some kind of consultant in order to help the entrepreneur to make the decisions and put the decisions on the paper and communicate with the government. So complex cases like company mergers and company divisions is a transaction that is reasonable to do in the notary office. And those who cannot use computers, there are still some people in Estonia who do not know how to use a computer. And in some houses there are no internet. I haven't seen one yet, but they say that there is some houses. So those who do not know how to use electronic means, they can use the help of a notary in order to start a new company. Today we receive about 80% of the new applications from the electronic environment, and we also receive about 20 to 30% of the applications from the notary office. But we also had to modernize the notary office. We developed a system for the notary called e-notary. So it helps us to receive electronic documents to the government. So we didn't want to get papers from the notary, we wanted to get electronic documents. So we used the same mechanisms, electronic identity and electronic signature to guarantee the security and so on and so on. So today we receive about 100% documents electronically. Most of them come through this online company registration portal. And those who do not like this electronic environment can have personalized service from the notary who helps to do all the necessary things. This synergy between those two processes works quite well, and we have solved all the big problems in there. But for the end, I would like to say that our goal in modernizing and optimizing the company registration process in Estonia has been a success story, and it has been an example to other e-government solutions, and we have proof of many awards given, national awards or international awards, and this helps us to go on and build this system more up and give it a better usability. But most of all, it helps the entrepreneur to go through this bureaucracy and do all the processes as fast as possible, so that it would leave more time for the business itself. And it's not only for Estonian entrepreneurs or citizens to use. It's also possible to use by other European citizens. We have now developed a mutual recognition system with Portugal in order for accepting electronic signatures given with Portuguese electronic identity. We also accept electronic signatures from Finland, from Lithuania, from Belgium, and from Portugal. So it's not only a national system, but it helps also other European citizens to start companies in Estonia. And when I listened to the last presenter or the last session that was dealing with interoperability, and especially the interoperability with electronic identities, and I heard that the biggest problems are in legal side and in organizational side, but I'm a more like technical person, And when we made the possibility to sign documents with Portuguese ID card in this company registration portal, I would have to say that all the problems were technical, not legal problems, not organizational problems, maybe a little bit cultural problems. We had to understand each other differently. But I saw only technical problems, because the problems in accepting electronic signatures from the law side, only few papers had to be changed. So everything was okay suddenly, only technical. And it took us about half a year to accept foreign electronic signatures and identities. So imagine that you can start a company via internet from your home within 18 minutes, and all you need now is business idea and the will to start up the business. So Estonia has the fastest company registration process in the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Ingmar. So basically this is a good example in this terms that we decided not to make a current process electronical. So basically we decided to change process as well. So in many cases, if you take Estonian e-services in B2B or B2C side, there are changes in processes as well. So basically you can benefit from information technology only if you change your process together with electronical or IT possibilities. So don't take a current process and turn it to electronical way. This is inefficiency in electronical way. Just think, and maybe there are places where you can change your process as well. But yes, it will definitely save my time to communicate with different public institutions electronically. But how it helps me to grow my business? So every company has clients, vendors, partners. So what kind of e-services help companies succeed? So I personally like to have a transparent business or transparent business about my partners and clients and vendors. So already today I can check my clients and partners' background from tax office, from commercial register, and even from public procurement register. So how easy is this in real life, and what benefits for companies it brings? So Ingmar will continue and will show you.
Yes. I have another story about business register and how to use the data that government collects. During the times, government gathers data from citizens, from companies, and usually the data is stored somewhere. It used to be on paper, but today we gather the data electronically. So straight away we have the possibility to use that data in a processed way. So this gives us some new opportunities. And visualized business register is one of the new intelligence services that enables to use the same data that has always been in the government side in a new way in order to offer more usability for the users. After the business establishment, all the data about businesses are in the business register, and in Estonia the business register data is public information. One day came some representatives from Estonian Bank Association to our office saying that they need a new tool to make searches about money laundering issues and about terrorist financing. So they need a tool to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. So we looked at this new directive from the European Commission that says that all financial transactions over the size of 15,000 euros have to be checked more carefully, and the financial institutions has to be satisfied that it knows who are the real beneficial owners of that transaction. So we came together with our colleagues and starting thinking what kind of system it should be. And according to the Bank Association, they need a tool that enables them to make inquiries from the business register and also from the land register and other government registers. And it should be visualized so that they could straight away understand all the complex schemas that the money laundering companies are trying to do. So the visualized business register gives the possibility to have easier overview of the connections between legal and natural persons. It enables to prevent money laundering because every transaction can be tracked between the companies and natural persons in a visualized way. And thanks to this system, it's easier also to track down the corruption issues in order to prevent the corruption in the government side. And we came up with a solution that looks similar to this slide. And we have a back in the end. We have a live system that you can look afterwards how the system works. And also you can see the company registration portal also in the back end after this presentation. So you can have a look and feel and make some searches from this system. So basically it helps the user to understand all the complex schemas. And you can see different kind of companies. You can see physical persons, legal persons. You can go upwards on the system to see where this company has shares in, and you can go downwards to see who is the owner of this company, who is the board member of this company, what other companies are related to this physical person or this legal person. So this gives you kind of an overview. In the future, we have plans to link this visual business register also to the other European business registers in order to have this cross-border dimension and to prevent this money laundering also cross borders, to help users to understand the problems better. And of course, this tool is also very usable for journalists and investigative bodies. But above all, the service is designed for financial institutions to prevent money laundering. So from this system also, we can connect to land register to see whether this legal entity or a natural person has any real property, and also to official publications where all government publications are published. So you can have this kind of overview from all the government systems that need to be checked according to the money laundering directive. So look at our demo, and then you can have the real overview how it works. For me, I'm going to give the word to the next presenter.
Thank you, Ingmar. basically, if you take this example, it shows that business in Estonia indeed can be transparent, and more transparent it will be. The quality in this business decision making process will definitely will increase. So, but let's make things more complicated. Okay, you can start company using e-channel, you can check your partner background, sign contracts electronically, but if your company decides to buy a land for a new factory, is it possible electronically as well? So Villem, Alango will tell you. So Villem, floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Villem Alango indeed. And first thing I guess I need is some mentoring how to use technology here. Which button I have to press? Or green one, good, I like the color. I hope you have had a really good time so far, and if it is so, it may happen that you will like Estonia. And to be real about your feeling, you can even buy a little bit of it. Does it sound attractive? And how this can be done and what's behind it? First thing is technical thing. We speak about technology today. The work context, institutions and registers involved in this process are e-land register, sometimes also referred as a title book register or even mortgage register in other traditions. But this is about all the legal aspects of real estate or immovable in general. Who's the owner? Who was the previous owner? When the ownership changed? Any debts on it? Any third parties' rights? Everything can make business soar. It's really good idea to check it out before you make a deal. Okay? And then another thing is a land cadastre, and this is about physical aspects. Where are the border points? Is there any grass, or is just the sand? What are the restrictions? Perhaps there are cables in the ground you should be aware of. Any natural or preservation zones preventing you from rising crop on the property, etc., etc. And of course, taxation is good to know beforehand. And then there is a buildings and construction register. Perhaps it makes sense to note that those registers are not under one institution or organization. It happens to be so that e-land register more or less is under Ministry of Justice, where the courts are. Land cadastre is under Ministry of Environment, and buildings and construction register, it happens to be under Ministry of Economy and Communications. It has been historically so, but it works. And why it works? It works because this picture here is a picture of the real situation. They are interconnected. And the data in those registers, it's already said before, but I repeat, it's never been copied. It appears when actual transaction take place, and because access to the register data gives always the ultimate up-to-date picture about the situation, there is no need to recheck the information you get. And for this simple fact, notaries also use this register system and this X-road thing in their everyday job. And it saves a lot of time. But I like pictures. It's better than words. And here how it's in our workflows. For example, if you find a piece of land or certain building you want to buy, where do you go for the information? First thing you can do when the break comes, you can go to the lobby and ask my colleague Janne, she's very friendly, to show you how to find information to the public portals. But using the internet access or my mobile phone, I can find a physical location in cadastre portal. I can find out which kind of soil there is. I can find out other aspects. And right from there or independently, I can go to land register to find out perhaps whether the people who is about to sell the property actually owns it. It has happened that they actually do not. But it's good to prevent it, and this is very easy now. And if I or you want to know more about technical things about building, for example, what's the thickness of the walls, what kind of cables are there, what is the roof material, is everything okay with building and usage permits, then this information is possible to find there. And acting like this, it is very likely that when you make your business decision, it is based on real facts, not on assumptions. And this gives us a great deal of risk management in practice. Now, after making your decision, you contact a seller, and together you send an email to notary upon your choice. And this what will follow, you should be invited to notary to appear in person, to meet there, and there is nothing much more you have to do except to reply positively on questions like, do you actually understand what are you doing? Do you know the meaning of signing those papers, etc.? But all those papers are already prepared. All the information is already checked. You never have to go to one institution, then to another, to get some kind of proof, more stamps like this. It basically takes 15 minutes or so. And compared to what it used to be before these electronic systems were made available, it's really, really a big shift in real-life practices. Here's where we see statistics. The lower gray line represents the applications on paper. Green, because of green thinking behind this, is on electronic transactions. You see the trend. There is less and less paper, but still some people use it, and we have to support this, of course. Now, what good does it do? First, and this is really, really a huge benefit, is it saves a lot amounts of time. I only can see in nightmares buying a new house using this old paper war model. It was awful. If this is my business, it clearly influences my efficiency, my success as a businessman. in any case, it influences my life quality. And already mentioned about decision support. It's hard to overestimate, I guess you agree. Risks reduced, and transparency of all the process. One thing, the many dimensions of available information, it prevents most kind of fraud attempts to happen. Another thing is, some people like it, some people don't. Tax authorities won't ask you for a new declaration. They already know what you're doing. But again, when this is how it works in Estonia, in different countries it might be a little bit different. There is different legislation, different institutions, but the main thing is it's possible, it works, you can do it. If you are interested how to do this quickly, please attend the seminar labeled Instant Cadastre. It will be held tomorrow 2 p.m. in Allegro Hall. You're welcome. And that is. Thank you.
Thank you, Villem. So basically 99% of financial transactions today made in Estonia, they are made electronically. So, and companies do most of tax and customs declarations electronically as well. So 94% of tax returns in 2011 were filled via internet or online. So if it comes to financial transactions, what is the next step after bank transactions, after tax and customs declarations? So invoicing seems to be an area where it's quite hard to find additional efficiency. So, but believe me, I have seen in my company remarkable benefits after introducing electronical invoicing. So, but what do we mean by electronical invoicing? So Margus Tammeraja will explain.
Thank you, Anne. I guess you all wonder what the heck is this invoice mill. I can show you. In our dreams, in the bookkeeper's dream, there was a folder full of papers, and then we attached the wires, and then we got everything in automatically, electronically. This is invoice mill. So, as Anne already told, we are very proud of what we have here in Estonia, but PDFs, they are electronic Stone Age. And why we talk about PDFs is because 90%, to be precise, 89%, invoices in Estonia today are in PDF format, which is not electronic invoice at all. What is a real e-invoice? Real e-invoice is a data set which is transferred from the billing solution to the accounting system electronically. No email. Email is Stone Age for accountants, electronic Stone Age. So how can you manage your cash flow electronically, fully electronic? Only if you have real e-invoices. You receive the data, and at the same moment you see how much you have to pay. What did you buy? Are the items okay? So everything can be managed electronically. How is this possible? You can use e-invoicing operators, like Estonian e-invoicing center, the manager of which I am. And it's a pleasure to share some experience what we have gathered through, let's say, 2 years of operations in Estonia. What makes it possible to come from practically zero to double the number of companies who use real electronic invoices, and even more. The first line shows how many actual physical companies are using real e-invoices today in Estonia with our system. And the next line shows how many are actually using the electronic workflow, who receive the e-invoices and manage the purchase invoices electronically. There is a growth. There is a lot more things to do. As you remember, just about 90% of invoices are still traditional PDF or even paper invoices. So how to get rid of this? You have to have an electronic workflow, which should be web-based solution. You do not want to hassle with any software. You don't want to install a system for this. You want to start using your electronic approval system right away, in a snap. Not even in 18 minutes, but in 5 minutes, you want to register your company's electronic workflow solution. So this can be done with Estonian e-invoicing center's electronic invoice portal. What actually happens with all those old-fashioned PDF invoices or paper invoices? They are digitized. Digitizing means that you scan the paper or you send off the PDF file for data recognition to our electronic invoice center, which means that since you have started using the solution, to you 100% of invoices are electronic, are real e-invoices. Even if you received it on paper, we turn it into e-invoice. And this means you can save a lot of time while entering the data. And guess how many invoices there are in Estonia? It's about 55 million invoices. 55 million times accountants have to type in some data. Imagine that everything is now electronic. Real e-invoices appear miraculously into the portal. 55 million times. It's about 1 to 10 minutes it takes to enter the invoice. Imagine the time saved. And of course, all the data goes to your ERP system, whatever accounting solution you have, so you don't have to enter anything at least twice. And we use this roadmap here as well. Everybody who has to confirm, approve the invoice, they have to be identified. So crucial part is identification of the persons who approve the invoices. And then we use Certification Center to manage the real identity of those people who sign electronically all the invoices for approving and paying. And as you already heard, 99% of actual transfers are made electronically already via internet banks. So this is the future of e-invoicing, which is already here in Estonia right now. And of course, electronic archiving. Estonian legislation says that you have to have, for 7 years, all the invoices you received, all the invoices you issued. If it is in electronic archive, you don't need any more papers, folders, even archive rooms. And you can find all the old invoices in split seconds. And today, Estonian e-invoicing center is official service provider to Ministry of Finance. And we have started automizing these workflow processes as a part of governmental initiative to centralize all the accounting departments of the ministries. So no more accountant here, accountant there in each and every institution. It is more like ministry-based or ministry-focused accounting bureaus. And e-invoicing lets it happen. Thank you. And
Thank you, Margus. So, what is the next step of the e-invoicing? So basically, how many of you receive every day in your life paper checks? So you go to shop, you get this type of papers. So today we have ongoing project to digitalize those as well. So basically, if you go to shop, to retail store, you will pay with your bank credit card or debit card. You will receive this information electronically to your bank account or e-banking system. So which means that less paper, faster time in shops. So it means more time for your own. So, but finally, Aleksandr Beloussov will open you a background of world best e-solution. So, what is it and how it helps enterprises?
Thank you, Ian. I hope you can hear me as well, because I don't have a microphone. And as Ian just indicated, some systems that's also in Estonia. Oh, excuse me, that's a bit faster event. Our best solution, what might it be? It's of course an electronic submission of annual accounts. As you may know, it's went mandatory starting from January 2010. So basically, every company in Estonia have to file in to register when their annual year is finished. And when we just launched our system, the first thing actually users called us and asked us. Usually governmental facilities working from 9 to 5. Is the system available after this time? So basically they did not understand the mean that this electronic submission could be used just every time we would like. If we look into the back, so basically, okay. As we launch it, as you may already heard, we are using an XBRL standard as a base for the system. And XBRL standard stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language. It is designed for the submission of annual accounts and financial information. And not many European countries are using this standard today for this purpose. And we are the first one, or not the first one, probably among the first ones, who actually made it mandatory as well in its fullest. And if we talk about when we started our project, we got a good advice about what we should take into consideration. And of course it was partners. Partners, governmental institutions who should participate in the project and provide additional help with that. And in the end, as you can see, it's named as a best solution by the VSR. We have a good and almost all companies now submit annual reports electronically, as you'll see this later in statistics. What we have. At the moment, we have standardized national business reporting online solution. It is possible also to render XBRL documents into PDF documents that can be signed digitally and submit to register. As well as it is instant access to companies' annual accounts data when the reports are submitted to the register. The main aspect, the main idea of a project was to lessen companies' administrative burden. Basically, probably it's the main problem that other different governments and countries are dealing with at the moment. Why should companies submit data, the same data, several times to different institutions? And here in Estonia, we looked into that the data that's been into annual accounts and that's in annual accounts is being collected by statistical department, by many different ministeriums. Why not use the same data as it's submitted to the register? And now it's real. All companies, all different governmental institutions can use the data provided to the register after the time it's being submitted to the register. But of course, not all companies can yet submit fully electronic report to the register. We have a transposition period, and it will end this year. And during this transposition period, for instance, companies using IFRS standard as its base cannot submit files, cannot submit annual reports via XBRL, but it will be possible starting from next year. And actually different types of reports like consolidated, liquidation, or the companies who report to the Ministry of Finance cannot yet submit reports, but will be able next year. Commercial register in Estonia provides the data to the governmental institutions what we use for their own needs. So basically they don't need to save it, they just can always ask for it from us. As I told about statistics mentioned, at 2001 we actually didn't have electronic means at all. And when we developed our system, like Ingmar indicated before, starting 2005, we launched a portal where it was possible to submit annual accounts via PDF file. At first it wasn't so popular and the users actually didn't use it so well. And when it became possible to register a company online with the same marketing strategy, companies had begun to submit more data electronically as well. And not only registering companies, but annual report submission went higher up. But to that point, it wasn't yet electronic fully, because the data submitted to the register by PDF is needed to be converted to the database format that other parties could use later. With implementation of the new system and usage of XBRL standard, we are now able to collect almost of 99% of data fully electronically, and it can be used at once by other institutions like I indicated before. And starting next year, practically all companies must report by using this means. What's changed in the process when they didn't have the system? Actually, when the entrepreneur sent his report via postal service or just or used the portal to submit an PDF report, the report at first was checked by registrar, and after that the data was manually inputted into our systems and was available for about after 3 months after submission. But now it is possible to submit the data and to use the data for about in 20 minutes. And the entrepreneur can create fully report in the system itself. So basically he does not need to bring some parts of the report outside of the system. He can create the whole picture, the whole document in there. Of course, if you have means of digital signature. It is possible to, this system also uses possibility of other countries' digital certificates. So basically, Finland, Portuguese people can sign their reports here as well, if they are board members of Estonian companies. And actually, this chain is growing, and probably in few years' times, actually almost all European countries and the certificates that's used in these countries could be used here to sign the reports digitally. I hope if you would like to learn more about this solution, about our system, you can visit us at our demonstration booth, and we can explain you more or give more details about how we made it, and maybe help you create same system in your country. Thank you.
Thank you, Aleksandr. So, ladies and gentlemen, we managed to show you only a few examples of Estonian e-business solutions. So, In different economy sectors, there are specific e-business solutions for those particular sectors. For example, in healthcare we have e-prescription, e-health records, so it means those systems usually connect pharmacies, doctors, health insurance funds, so as well different logistic services, self-service portals in B2B and in B2C. So basically, how to conclude why we are here and why we are so used to electronical processes and electronical thinking on e-thinking. So I would like to say thank you to Estonian business leaders who have been always very keen on how to use information technology as one of innovation tools. As well, I'm very impressed how governmental institutions were pioneers in how to build and use e-services. I think it's quite good examples that indeed the municipalities and governmental institutions can be pioneers, because as well enterprises see today in Estonia that we have quite advanced managerial structure in terms of e-services in governmental level as well. But now I will ask our gentlemen to join me on a stage, and now it's time for questions and discussions, as we have a bit less than 1 hour to really ask questions from our specialists, from entrepreneurs. Most of them are entrepreneurs as well, so feel free to ask your question. So, gentlemen. So just raise your hand if you have a question about, and I think as well you can ask question about business to consumer services or e-services in Estonia. Most of them are quite experienced in this field as well. So I will remind you, starting from Astok opened our discussion and our presentations regarding mobile ID and ID cards. So basically this part which enables us to authenticate and give digital signatures. So Villem Alango showed us possibilities regarding geographical information system, land registers, and services related to this topic. Margus Tammeraja told us about the e-invoicing, and that we hope that more and more transaction data and invoice data will flow electronically, not only in electronical format, which you have to use or reuse in your system. So, and Ingmar Väli made presentation about visualized company registration portal and company register, and as well how to register your company electronically in Estonia. And Aleksandr Beloussov made presentation about Estonian yearly reports reporting system in electronical format. So feel free to yes.
Milan Maric, Montenegro, SNT Montenegro. I have a question regarding project for mobile ID. This project was started here in Estonia by a telecom operator, and I suppose that is also financed with the sources of telecom operator. So could you tell us how long it takes to finish this project? What is the budget for this project? And what is the motivation of operator? How he will return the investment?
Yeah, thank you. I will give you choose facts and figures what I know. Yes, you're right. It was started by one of mobile operators, a leading operator, like a premium services operator, and their goal was, first of all, definitely to get more kind of premium services for the customers, and also because they are focused to business customers. And but later, after like 1 year of work of inside only one operator, it was already asked from the customers of other operators, so can we use it also? And also government take it as a precondition to use it, like for the voting, by example, that it must be available for all clients of all operators acting here. And also it was first of all based to the private certificates, but our government trusted them, the private certificate. But just before the elections, it was agreed that operators will issue the mobile ID, and you just need to go to the government webpage and electronically subscribe for the governmental certificate for you. I don't know the costs. N is part of this group of telecom companies today who developed this solution. What is the price? Maybe you can give a comment. But I think the goal was very unique, both for the companies and government, actually, to speed up the transactions with the government, or between the businesses, or between the citizens and businesses, citizens and government, because we all understood that the mobility is just growing need, and we need to have mobile tools for signing also, not only ID card, for what you need special slot in your computer, what is almost standard in Estonia, but still not available for Mac users. Every time somebody provides a new version of browser, you need to, for ID card, you need to adjust your ID card reader software, and definitely browser updates are made without warning Estonian government that something is happening. So, so actually the mobile ID is much more universal than ordinary ID card, and I think the result is exactly what we like to get. It's government trusted. It's now available from any operator working here in Estonia, and now it's done. And maybe I can comment the cost and development period. I'm not aware about it, because it comes to market just one day.
Yes, I think the main reason why telecoms were involved in many developments, because telecoms saw additional value on those services they started to develop. Because if we take mobile phone, definitely in the beginning of 2000 there was question how to bring new services to mobile phone, not just to call, not just to send SMSs, but in addition to the mobile data, to have really beneficial services on top of that. And regarding initial investment, if I remember correctly, it's around or between 3 and 5 million euros, and most of the investment definitely goes to agreeing process between governmental institutions and telecom operators, because definitely to take this chip to mobile phone needs to be legal as well. From governmental point of view, how we should issue this certificate so that everyone will trust this certificate as well. So around 3 to 5 million, and as I remember, it was partly bought as well from technical point of view. So we have 2 questions. So let's take this one, and gentlemen.
I have a question. Certainly I picked it up for the question. But what was the relationship of all those initiatives with the private sector? in the sense were they like government driven, or they were like talks even with businesses, since they are providing even solution to businesses, or it was like more like impose, you know, the government imposed this solution to the businesses and so on, because as far as I see, you know, the majority there are representatives of government agencies. And so there were like, I don't think for the e-land you're private, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah,
I'm from private company. But just few words, let me comment. The buzzword here is public-private partnership, and in Estonia it's traditionally been evolved so that it's far beyond official frameworks. For example, it is very common practice to meet private and governmental agencies people and just to discuss the possibilities and new ideas. It is more and more common today, and it's actually creates a lot of value. Thank you.
And if I'm if I may comment, also I think it's really good partnership between government and companies in Estonia, because sometimes in government people feel that they are just run out of ideas, and but when the company people are coming and telling that there is solution what we are planning to develop, and can we do it jointly, or at least will you accept it afterwards, and can we bind the governmental open data to this solution and so on. And vice versa, sometimes government have its ideas or needs, and when coming to the businesses, and they are happy to partner in these two solutions. But I think this e-invoicing, what Margus can comment, is also, it was like not anyhow starting in Estonia, and this was partly governmental push or in governmental plans that during the next few years, if you like to have a business with the government, you should invoice government electronically, and not in the electronic, in the means of PDF.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in year 2010.
It's almost 2010.
Yeah, it's almost there.
But anyway, now it's the problem was that the tools were missing, especially, okay, if you are a telecom provider, you definitely can send your invoices in whatever format. But if I'm a small entrepreneur providing for some government institution some small services, I need to have a tools also to provide this two invoices per month to a government. And it doesn't mean that I need to make a development work for $10,000 to get this solution. It must be something what is Margus is providing, like €6 per month.
No, it's 3.
Oh, it's free. Okay, €3.
€3 per month for small companies.
Yeah. So this is what is affordable for small company.
Sure it is. Less than a lunch.
So I can't give you a receipt, sure. But I may say that half and half, that many good initiatives from governmental municipality side and many initiatives from entrepreneurs side. So somehow it works and works very well in Estonia, and it's not driven by a governmental institution or driven by private sector only. It's cooperation, and who takes lead must finish it as well. So, gentlemen there.
Thank you very much. My name is Chong-Hun Cho from the World Bank. My question goes to the M-Service, MID, mobile ID again. I'm trying to understand how to establish that system. I guess you have to build on a reliable database that mobile operators have for subscribers. So the information of subscription is very accurate, I presume, because I'm trying to apply this idea to other developing countries where the database of population registrar is not so much accurate. So they're still having a problem of accuracy issues. So I guess that's one of the preconditions to move into MID regime, so to speak. So I'd like to have some comment on that. The second is the co-sharing. I understand this is based on the partnership between public and private sectors. So imagine a situation a citizen wants to prove his or her identity using M-service. So he has to use a mobile phone to call and all this. So I guess the phone charge is given. Does citizen have to pay additional fee for using this MID service or digital signature for that matter as well? And the running cost of a certification center, I understand from yesterday's presentation, that is operated by private sector, not by the government, which is very unusual setup, I might say. So what I understand, however, certification center must have at least a cost recovery mechanism, if not profit-making mechanism, to run the system. So if you can explain how the certification center is operating, that would be useful.
Yeah, starting from first question about the accuracy of registers, yes, this is a cornerstone. Otherwise, you cannot prove it. So, like in many other countries, we have single ID number for every citizen, for every business, for every property, for every land piece. So this is the cornerstone because there is no other means of identification. Definitely, there are additional as a visual picture in the same register. But for the electronic means to build it without proper register is at least, I cannot say it's impossible, but it's pretty complicated. So, so this is the answer for it. And I think it's probably good idea for every country starting e-government to start from back office, and at least the basic registers must be in place, and then you can add another information on the top of it. So the digitalization of all registers, what has done already in many countries is kind of cornerstone, otherwise you cannot operate. About the cost sharing in mobile ID, yes, all the costs, you pay like 60 € per month for the service, and it's, as I understand, it's share cost. This covers cost for the government, for the certificate, and also for the operator. So, but I think it's not covering the development cost, but the running costs. But the business model of a certification center, maybe somebody else can give a comment on it. Government, if I'm using my ID card as a private citizen, I can provide 10 digital signatures per month free of charge. What is absolutely okay for me as a private citizen. Probably I do not sign any more agreements per month. If I use it in the bank portal, it's already this fee is covered probably from a service fees to a bank, and bank covers it to a certification center. And also if I'm a corporate user of digital signatures, so this is when my company is covering the costs of for the certification center. But at the same time, I think it's very important that they must be profitable, at least some profit. So it keeps them fresh, and there is every step what they made, at least they must calculate it very carefully. It's not like great idea from government and $10 million from European Union budget, and after we recognize that it was useless. Like it's happened sometimes in big government projects. I'm not telling, those guys are not next to this table, but it might happen. It keeps them fresh.
So, and regarding certification center, yes, they are profitable today already, but say after 7 years, because its initial investment was quite big enough. But they have their own services as well, like time stamping for private companies, companies who like to have for their transactions trusted certificates and timestamps, and like export as well, because they are exporting tachographics cards to Finland, for example. So.
Is there one registration center or each mobile operator?
No, there is one. What is only actually technically and by legislation there can be as much as possible of them, but probably about the size of a market there is only one. And actually what's very interesting, the same certification has made some spin-offs also, like digital public transportation tickets are our way product also, because it's based almost on the same components. Based on the population register, you just can make a call from your mobile phone and dial in the dial pad your ID number and in the special service number, and when you are getting invoice together with your mobile invoice, what is the like monthly ticket for the bus transportation in Tallinn. So it's all same ecosystem. So you need to be creative how to push people to use it, and definitely when we are selling already bus tickets together with City of Tallinn, there are definitely very service fee inside this bus ticket also.
Yeah, lady over there.
Now that there's the mobile ID, what about the smart cards in identity document?
Smart cards in identity document. We have in our electronic ID card there is a smart chip, and it's often asked what it consists, and it consists only the same data what you can see in the card. So your name, your family name, your date of birth, your gender, date of birth, date of issuing the card, and it's almost it. And it consists 2 certificates. With one you can provide your identity for identification and authorization, and second is for digital signature. So the card does not consist any kind of, I should say, private information. In some countries, what are like, I should say, offline countries still in general means, there are cards what are consisting a lot of data about you, just to understand what kind of services you are connected and what you can get free of charge, like in Egypt I know, and in India. But in Estonia we take an approach that everybody must be connected. So we connect your ID card, we verify that this is Hannes Astok, and already with assistance of your personal ID number you are connected to relevant database. And when the service provider, is it a doctor or bus driver, or can get the information now what kind of services you're getting free of charge, or whatever information you can retrieve.
But if I can, I would use the mobile ID.
Sorry?
But if I can choose, I would use the mobile ID.
Yes, yeah, it's both you can use. It's not in every service, but already in many services you can choose what kind of tool you like to use, what is more convenient for you. Definitely, if you need a visual identification also, like you are going to visit a doctor or police officer face by face, when it's much better to have an ID card with you. But in virtual services, it's almost you can choose what button you push, or you put your ID card to the reader, or you use mobile ID.
So basically this infrastructure you see here is available for private sector as well. So we don't have separate infrastructures for private and for governmental or municipality sector. So basically this infrastructure, X-Road and ID card for all enterprises. So I can start company in Estonia and I can easily use this infrastructure to authenticate my clients in Estonia or sign contracts with them. So more questions or ideas?
I have a question regarding cadastre solution. For example, I am a potential buyer and I am a foreigner here. I don't have documents and I need them to go to register in system, and how to achieve this. Just give us a short for non-residential status.
Okay, thank you. I can. It's a two-part question actually. There is at least two steps. One is how to get information for your decision. Another is how to make those official steps. And the good news is that you don't need Estonian ID in any form to access most of the information, because it's available through public information services over the internet. If we actually speak about real estate trade, you can do without valid electronic ID, because in notary, where you actually sign the paper contract, they will check your identity anyway. But in cases where you need to make, for example, online payment, like getting information from land register, then yes, you will need one acceptable electronic ID, or you have to be a customer of one of our banks and use their electronic services. So it is not totally closed system, but about details about how to gain a workable identity, I guess other guys here are more competent to give hints. Any comments?
Just basically, the notary will help you. It's if you want to buy land and you don't have electronic identity, or any case you in order to buy or own a land, you have to go to notary's office on time. So notary will give you all the necessary information from government registers. So there's no problem if you don't have Estonian ID card.
So notaries are intermediate between
the government and
end user and the government in that case.
Yes.
With all responsibilities.
Yes.
To including payment and everything.
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you.
So, and lots of information available as well, public in internet. So you can basically check my land size and public information about my land. You can see publicly mortgages or debts on my land, but you can see all coordinates and stuff like that.
If you're interested, we have a screen on the back of the stage, and you can look at the system later on.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question about the public-private partnership. Probably there are many different interpretations of this term. The softest probably is, the private enterprise does something good and the government says yes, it's good, and just do it. But I'm interested in the other side, in the more legal aspect, where a function to be done or traditionally to be performed or performed by government is tendered out legally, and the investment is done by the private company, and the government pays for that service. Probably, there is a probably European definition what a PPP is. Is any of the e-service done with that method instead of just friendly cooperation?
It's almost a friendly cooperation. What sometimes has later covered with the tenders as a next step also. Like I think the certification center started as a cooperation, and after it's also covered with a tender as a next step. What is the exact price or one certificate what they're providing to government to issue the new ID cards or something like it. And also with a mobile ID, I think it's more partnership than a business. But in traditional means, definitely there is in Estonia it's not a rule, but a good habit that the government do not own very large ICT development centers. Or the exception is maybe our center of registers and information systems. So the deal is also that if a private company provides the solution to the government, So the deal is that they do not resell it to the government in Estonia. So government can reuse the same solution in Estonia as much as he like, but the company can sell it abroad as a product. So that is like win-win situation. There are now some obstacles because if a lot of developments are financed by European Union money, it must be like public domain anyway. But nevertheless, you can use it in public domain in other countries, but it's almost useless if you do not know how to implement it. And this is what you can charge for as a company.
And one good example, if it comes to public-private partnership, is definitely second pillar pension system, which was outsourced in 2002 or 3, where government outsourced this second pillar to OMX Nasdaq. So they take care of running this register, and this is totally outsourced in terms of IT development, but in terms of running all this register and then processes behind this register. So I think this was a very good example and success story in Estonia.
I would also like to add that Ministry of Justice in Estonia, we have a quite big, you could call IT department. And it's because there is need to define what kind of services we want to do for the entrepreneurs, for the citizens. So we rethink all the services that we want to deliver to the public society. So we have a quite big IT department. We rethink. Then we make public procurement, and we buy the service. And recently we have gained a lot of structural funds from the European Commission, and all the services and all the systems built with this money are usable to anybody else from with this European public license. So it's reasonable to reuse all the done work. For example, our XBRL annual account system is available free of charge to anybody who wants to use it. So if you're interested in, you can reuse these systems, and also the private developers who develop the system, they also can reuse these systems in other countries, so that there comes this private-public partnership.
Okay, thank you. More questions? If no, then I will take right to ask last question from our gentleman. So basically, you as entrepreneurs and public servants, what would be your idea about the one killer application for enterprises we should develop next year? So let's start from here. Or who is ready to give answer to this question? Killer application for enterprise. We don't have it today.
I think, yes, I would agree that I think every communication, all the communication is going to the mobile devices. So today we have e-Government, tomorrow we probably have m-Government, so that all the systems would be usable via portable devices. So I think that's the next step, because in Estonia we have most of the services already operational, so we are trying to add value to the already existing information and try to build new services with the help of private sector.
Thank you, Ingmar. Hannes.
As a small entrepreneur, I'm interested actually to get kind of overview about my payments and other duties what I have against the government. The data is existing already in many portals, but I need to log into tax authority portal to understand my tax balance, and I need to log into custom authority portal to understand is there any duties against customs, so to understand what is the status of my annual report or something like it. So maybe it's possible to integrate it into one portal send me warnings if something is delayed, and so on and so on. So not that I need to surf like 10 places, but integrate this data to one entrepreneur portal. Maybe it's existing already, but maybe it's not promoted just. But I'd like to add one comment about the business register. I just checked the data from Economist, and you can imagine what is the difference between the countries. Like Estonians are registering company in 18 minutes, but in Suriname it takes 691 days to register the company. It's like 55,000 times more takes time. But I hope if you are somebody from Suriname, maybe may catch the idea, and tomorrow we are doing already company registration in 17 minutes, so we are lagging behind then.
Maybe they don't need to open a business because the government does everything.
Or maybe there is problems with the government. Yeah.
Villem, Margus.
Okay, perhaps as an entrepreneur and from not the youngest generation, I have specific problem with those mobile applications. The problem is that my thumb is underdeveloped. The younger guys get it like this, but I can't. And what I actually bitterly miss is something like business services using voice control interface. And actually we already have free of charge service here in Estonia interpreting spoken text in Estonian language. We have tested it. It still sometimes gives quite funny results, and it can make a lot of fun, but I guess it's good start, and actually a little bit more solid applications today and technologies today are already available for English, which is not surprise. But I guess that such kind of integrating of new easy-to-use interfaces is way to go, because on service and applications level we actually today have already more than we can use in everyday life. Perhaps some things differently, but that's my view.
Aleksandr, Margus.
I think it's maybe next year we shouldn't develop anything new. We just need to reduce reporting burden. Basically, if we don't ask for information from enterprises so often, maybe it will be much more easier for them to deal with their businesses.
Thank you.
Exactly. And they should make e-invoices mandatory next year.
Mm-hmm. Very good to finish. It has been a long journey starting from 1990s, so nowadays we can't imagine our lives in our enterprises without those e-business services. So technology is there to help you and help your companies. So once more, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And I hope you got at least one good idea to take with you to home, to your enterprise. So thank you and have a nice day.